again, modified to 6.10.
Yeah, and so we move into picks and bans for game number 3 between ESC Ever and the JinAir Green Wings. And Ever going to start off with that Twisted Fate ban. Nidalee taken out by JinAir.
No roster change, so JinAir will be persisting with Blanc in the mid lane. Not to say that he had a bad game, but just worth noting. Also,
I think he did
no
okay
introduction for Key. Totoro will be seeing out the series.
Yeah. All right, a Zir ban from Ever for their second one.
So Ever's definitely not going to be the one pinching jungle pulls. Only Nidalee's been banned so far. Let's see if JinAir go further, because I could see a Kindred first pick coming out. And okay, respect Swain ban. Interesting.
They're just not ready to handle that, I guess, in the mid lane. Don't have enough practice against it or whatever.
I think Ever would again default to one of their control mage mids or something like a Varus, which would open up assassin play from Blanc. He is a known LeBlanc player. Yeah, of course he is with a name like that. So let's see how this pick and ban goes, because the jungle pool is certainly going to be almost untouched. Will we see a Kindred final ban? Because that would leave Ryze open now. They beat Ryze in game 1, but I mean, Ever showed in game 1 they will reach for Ryze, and whether they'll reach from over Kindred is a question we'll very soon get the answer for if Ryze is not banned.
Elise, so they will ban another jungler. Ryze is open, so what is Ever going to take here?
Worth noting that Kindred and Rek'Sai are both junglers blessed players, and both are available, so this is a better scenario to pick the Ryze.
All right, they're going to go for the Ryze. It seems a little bit risky to give the Rek'Sai over to Wing, but he may take that Kindred anyway.
At least it's a trade, right? There's no, like, imminent Kha'Zix threat. He could play Kha'Zix, I guess, but he does have a top meta jungler available in Rek'Sai with these lock-ins.
All right, well, the Victor going to be locked in along with the Kindred, and without the Swain, without the Azir to go into the Victor, maybe it would make it a little bit tougher for Ever to kind of find a mid lane matchup that works out.
I think it's going to be Rek'Sai Varus. I think that's what you go for. The Varus is such a safe laning phase.
Oh, here you go. You can go Ashe with that too.
Yep, you don't need to reach for either of those picks just yet. So, return to the Ashe pick. And yeah, I could definitely see Varus Rek'Sai closing out this draft. You'd have a strong front line in Rek'Sai, Braum, and of course the Ryze as well towards the late game. You'd have initiation. And it's an answer to the Victor, another farm lane that does just fine in lane.
Sure. And that's Sivir being mulled over by
Sivir Victor
right
Maokai. Let's go, guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's becoming a classic pretty quickly, isn't it?
JinAir got that comp in game 2 and were outplayed across the map to take it down. So there definitely are ways to run around what is so traditionally one of those blind pick-esque comps in terms of power.
Right. And they may just go for the Echo here, too.
Okay, maybe just trying to pressure. With all the sustained damage from Ryze, you can get a lot of value out of the Echo ultimate when it comes to trades in the top lane. Not that Maokai really has any significant issues either, but let's see what Ever does. Because, again, I'm predicting the Varus, but maybe we'll see something crazy from Tempt. He has been known to play Assassins on occasion.
It's true, but I like the Varus here. I mean, it's safe. You know it's effective. He's such a good Varus player. You're going into a Victor. Yeah, Rek'Sai Varus makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's what I predicted, but ESC Ever have been known for their curveballs. This is a team that blind picks the blind picks champions in the early rotations. Karma's another one that Tempt messes around with, and it would be a lot of early lane pressure. What this would do is that it would mean they have one lane with pressure in the mid lane, while Ryze and to a lesser degree Ashe are kind of just going even or slightly worse in their lanes. So
I mean, it's a good takeaway too from JinAir, right?
Sure.
Because it denies all those speed boosts that you get from having the Sivir and the Karma on the same team.
Yeah, it's good that you pointed that out, because their last pick was to be support, and Sivir Karma has been a lane that can be oppressive when it comes to pushing the mini waves, and then you get double Sivir effectively with the Mantra E.
Yep, but the Bard is open. Che can take that.
It's probably not going to be the Zyra that we so loved from Che in his previous series, just because it's a team that's going to go aggressive, and Zyra is so much better kiting back with the Stranglethorn's ultimate. So Bard would at least give some lane pressure to Sivir, who can struggle in some of those early trades.
Yeah, I think you're right about the Zyra. I mean, you can't really like run into a place and start using Zyra right away. She needs time to set up the seeds and kind of prepare the battleground. And so it will be the Bard.
Interesting, interesting. So they don't go for quite what we expected in terms of the Varus pick, but this is almost a safer draft from Ever. Varus can have those scenarios where he dies in lane and then has to hang back. There's no lane pressure in mid, then Ryze is getting dived in top, and then Ashe is having struggles in bot lane. Karma is a much stronger, safer laner. From level 1 onwards, pretty oppressive in her trading. So they're going to have some power in the mid. They're going to also have some movement speed, as you mentioned, to negate Sivir and her speed ups. So a lot of synergy here, but can Crazy get going? Because that's the question mark to me, is if this Ryze gets going, I really like the draft from Ever. And also, how does Bless use a control jungler? Because that hasn't really been his MO, at least in Champions so far.
I suppose, but it's such a strong pick right now that you should probably know what to do with it.
I mean, think of these fights. Ash Arrow, Flash Unbarrow, Flash Rune Prison. The CC chains are very impressive. Braum, of course, with the concussive blows.
Yeah, Karma's sitting on you with her own chains too, so yep. You can definitely get CC'd for a very long time.
Right at the last second, cleanse change to Victor. Very much going to be necessary.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, the game is loading up for our last game of the night, actually. ESC Ever taking on the JinAir Green Wings. Whoever wins this will remain undefeated in the first 2 weeks of LCK Summer. And what a huge statement it would be for Ever to actually take down JinAir.
Yeah, they would be second overall because Samsung has 2 2-0 victories, but still, as you say, undefeated, right at the top of the table. A great debut onto the champion scene for Ever, and very possible. This is a cleaner draft than Game 1, even though there's some commonalities about it.
That's right. So, time to go into game number 3. We'll see who takes it. ESC Ever versus JinAir Green Wings. Time to resolve our first 3-game set of LCK Summer. All right, starting out with an Ocean Drake as we move on to Summoner's Rift for game number 3 in our 7th match already of LCK Summer. ESC Ever looking to take down one of the more dominant teams from Champion Spring in JinAir, and we'll see if they can do it.
So far looking like standard lanes, although Ashe and Braum making their way towards the top side of the map, so not wanting to opt into the 2v2.
Yep.
If you can engineer a situation where you hit level 6 and the outer turrets are down, Ashe Braum is basically death for any duo lane pushing up. The moment you see, say for example, the Sivir spell shield down, you have massive pick pressure. And we already outlined that anyone who's going to be visiting these lanes has CC of their own, point and click for Ryze and the Flash Unburrow for the Rek'Sai. So
yeah,
turrets being down is basically death for a lot of the JinAir members. So lane swap's going to be just fine from the perspective of Ever.
Yep, they're going to move in onto Bless and Crazy and try to deny these Krugs, and it looks like they'll be able to. Keep chasing, too.
So it's a selfish start by Ever. They don't go on the invade. They actually just take a camp for themselves. You also see Echo's going to poke into lane and try and push it as fast as possible. They don't know the lane swap is on, or they have a pretty good idea of it. Now Echo will be chased out of top.
Yep.
Jungle follow delayed on the side of Ever.
Got in there and got 1 CS at least.
Bard looking for a cheeky roam.
Yeah, trying to come in on the Tempt, see if you can get that flash out early. Looking for that Cosmic Binding. There it is. Tempt in a lot of trouble. Gonna flash. Ignite flash from Blank as well. Gets caught under the turret a little bit. But Shay there to make sure Crazy doesn't finish him off, and Totoro can't get there in time for any sort of revenge. So very quick first blood coming out for JinAir.
It's really quick pathing too from Che, and you could see that Tempt had no idea what to do. Whichever way he juked, he was within terrain to be hit by the Cosmic Binding, and that's the stun registering. So really nice roam from JinAir. Very much Peekaboo-esque in terms of its timing and its impact. So nice early advantage, and suddenly Karma, who should have a very strong, oppressive laning phase against his Victor, is going to be on the back foot.
Well, yeah, I mean, without those summoners too, Tempt is going to really have a tough time.
Worth knowing that Blanc also used both as summoners over the course of that fight. We're going to have the bonus gold.
I suppose.
The buy timing's not ideal. Would love to pick up that first Hex core, but realistically, with the gold at this present moment, it's going to be a couple of Dorans probably for Victor.
Yep.
Yeah,
Tempt getting a bit of time to lane now.
See the lane swap finally ending, so definitely early advantage JinAir having picked up that kill gold.
Loken, I thought maybe he was going to sacrifice himself for the minions.
He thought he was going to do a Sang Yun and just die to the minions.
Or an arrow, yeah.
Oh dear.
Wasn't that arrow the other day? Yeah, it was arrow.
You're right. Sorry, it wasn't an arrow. It was pre-planned according to Chani, but he would say that, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's not a big reason not to do that, because it does get you back to base faster, actually.
Sure, but even if it was a mistake, they would probably be like, no, it was all planned, just to spare some blushes.
Yeah, maybe. That is true. And the Ocean Drake going over to JinAir early on. It's going to give him that nice regen.
They invest a lot into taking this dragon. As you can see, health bars get super, super low. We're going to see
Cloud Drake next.
Two of the, I feel like the two of the low tier list dragons, because everyone really loves the Infernal and Mountain.
Yeah.
But regardless, so a lot invested to pick up that first dragon. It does mean that we're probably going to see more dragons before Elder Drake spawns, given just how ludicrously early compared to other games this first dragon has come down.
Could be. Loken moving down to bot lane now. Wing taking his anger out on the ground. Poor Gromp.
Still riding double buff, so in a pretty happy spot.
At the moment, it's going to be a lot of farming.
Yep. It's come to expect that, given how this series has gone. Those turrets are starting to fall, but Ever are now in a lane where the enemy top laner, or if we do see 2v2, has a turret to kite back to, so not quite that pick pressure we were talking about earlier.
Very true.
Don't have vision of Trace, so they're going to end up passing over a bit of experience in CS. Trace doing just fine in the 1v2, whereas you can see Ryze is very much being run around the map. Picked up his Tia, but isn't going to get any of this experience in top compared to the Echo, who could be selfish and pick up CS, and Ryze is going to join, so they're going to go for the mirror turret take to ensure that both side lanes are going to be bare when it comes to outer turrets.
Yep, makes sense. Meanwhile, in mid lane, things kind of progressing normally.
Difference in how this has gone is that less experience and crucially less gold onto a champion that needs to stack and hit item timings in Ryze is a pretty big problem for Eva, of course coupled with the First Blood gold that Blanc was able to pick up.
Yeah. And here comes Winged. Tempt already on the run.
Oh,
trying
look
to get
at
away
this.
from Karma. Nice parallel convergence. Trace gets the stun on that Echo. Bless comes in. Can't save his mid laner though. And another kill going over to JinAir. The picks in the mid lane have been very good so far. And that's another one on the Blank.
And just
Blanc.
But it's Tempt, honestly, playing disrespectful. It's the second time in a jungle follow extended lane swap where he's pushed up and been caught. Now, the collapse from JinAir was beautifully pulled off. You know, the parallel conversion just lying in wait when they chase him down with his flash down. But Tempt doesn't need to put himself in those scenarios. He's on Karma. He has a ranged auto attack. He has ability to farm from long range. Instead, gets too greedy for the harass with his flash still down and is thusly punished.
Yep. Teams trading turrets though, so that will be even up.
Gold, and specifically the Ryze being at a disadvantage gold-wise, is a big problem for Eva. Means that scaling is going to be later, and given what JinAir pulled off in Game 1 when they had an advantage in early game pressure, which they've reciprocated and or put together again in this game, given how clean the early game has been. If we see another game where Eva's going to be forced into giving up multiple dragons, you know, multiple objectives, then we may actually see a return to the result of Game 1.
Yeah, maybe. I think it seems pretty possible at this point. I mean, it's still early in the game, but already JinAir with about a 2,000 gold lead, and it's 7.5 minutes. That's significant.
With 1,700 gold and a dragon that's not reflected in the gold graphs, so
yeah.
Certainly objectives upon objectives for JinAir.
It's a big lead. Trace just pushing down that bottom lane, and he's got a very nice CS lead over Crazy right now.
We could honestly, given the fact that Karma's been on the back foot in mid, we could see Victor, you know, push in, put aggressive wards on the bot side. We could see Kindred play around the bot side, and then Ryze, pre-Catalyst, pre-Rod of Ages, even with just the Catalyst, is really a ripe target to turret dive. So they don't need to stop this pressure phase onto the Ryze, who's now slowly creeping up to CS, and maybe actually Echo's going to play around mid lane for a third time.
We'll see. Winged getting ready for maybe another play. No, had to take out the tunnel. Trace is there.
They're kind of waiting to see who oversteps more, the Ryze or the Karma.
Meanwhile, Bliss coming up. Nope, turning around. Back towards the mid lane now. Thought maybe he was going to try for something up in top lane, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case. And now they're trying to catch Crazy, zoning him out with that parallel convergence. He flashes on that rise. They're going to chase. Trace takes a lot of damage from the turret, but then just ults right back for the heal. And another easy gank for JinAir. They have really been doing fantastically with catching the ESC Ever players in situations that they just can't get out of. It's like checkmate when you zone with that parallel convergence. What do you do?
Exactly. They have no good options. Every option you juke into, and it was the same at level 1 where Karma was like, crap, I can't juke in any fashion that will stop the Cosmic Binding from registering. So Chase set the pace, and from there, JinAir has just been so smart at rotating around the map, picking up those kills, and just getting a massive gold and pressure lead. So if the team that's had the pressure in the early game, okay, it took JinAir a long time to register the win, but the pressure in the early game, game 1, it was JinAir. Game 2, it was Ever. It's once back again back to JinAir, so looking pretty good for this lineup.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, in the late game, they do have Braum, they do have people who can face check like the Rek'Sai, they have the Tremor Sense, they have more information. There won't be the same free objectives in the late game that there was in game 1, but
by then, you know, will the lead be too big to overcome?
That's the question, because they've already snowballed it further than you would have expected, even after the early level 1 gap from the mid lane.
Yeah. Yeah, this Victor for Blanc is going to be pretty scary, too.
And now they're playing the I hope Crazy looks really juicy and gets dived game.
Yeah.
It's pretty predictable because the Rise is so far pushed up.
Yeah. Well, Bless coming up. Nice Cosmic Binding from
nice.
Che, actually. Yeah, prevented any chance of ever going through for a gank in the jungle.
I mean, they were fishing for an Ashe arrow with Rise pushing up, with Rek'Sai pathing there, and so well denied by the lineup of JinAir.
Yeah.
Ever have some pressure around the Dragon, but given the tenure of the early game, don't feel confident enough to start it, so we're just pushing back away. Rise continues to desperately chase farm. The timings, you know, we always talk about 13, 14-minute Rod of Age. It's not going to happen this game. Just purchased his Catalyst along with Boots, so Crazy been very well held.
He's catching up a bit in farm. JinAir going for what's going to be their second dragon of the game as they try to take out this Cloud Drake. Ever's pretty close by, though, or at least a couple of them are. But is this Cloud Drake worth fighting over? Probably not.
Nope, but we kind of said the same thing about a lot of the dragons in game 1, and it became more about the fact that they put so many together than necessarily whether it was the Mountain Dragon or the...
Ah, yeah, that's what it's going to be next.
Okay, so the Mountain Dragon's, again, one of those more massive ones you want to contest. Because the stacking was started so early, we could see something along the lines of 5, 6 dragons taken before. I believe it was 5 dragons, sorry, that can be taken before the Elder spawns. So
could be.
Does mean there's going to be no Infernal this game, though.
That's right, yeah. Only 3 of the 4 dragons can spawn. So we do just have Cloud, Mountain, and Ocean this game.
JinAir trying to rotate around mid. They have the 2 easy turrets down. They can walk up to the Karma and try and harass down this lane as well.
Yeah, here comes Logan. Maybe an arrow coming through here. Another nice Cosmic Binding. Chaos Storm dropped on attempt. He has to back away. So, again, no hope of any sort of play just due to that damage now in the mid laner.
Need to set up defensive pinks on both sides of the map. Although they have a pink on bottom and top side of the map Ever, they really need to give as much cover for specifically Crazy as possible. Gonna see Karma just teleport to mid lane. Every time they take this Rise, they're so well punished by JinAir in terms of lack of pressure in lanes. Rise has been well held in both games.
So do you think we're possibly seeing the beginning of decline for Rise?
No, I don't think so.
Teams are kind of handling it now?
I don't think so. It's just, it doesn't fit the Ever we know and love. When Ever's playing those proactive comps, they're so good at it that when they opt into champions like Rise and they're punished for it, they look like they don't have the answer. I mentioned it. Ever a different team when able to play from ahead. So opting into Rise, you're never going to be able to play from ahead in the early game, realistically speaking.
JinAir even taking the Rift Herald now, too. They are really getting everything this game.
Pretty much a carbon copy of game 1, except earlier. That's the worry for Ever, is that although, yes, they have a better team comp, these dragons are coming earlier. There's going to be more of them to interact with the Elder Dragon unless they can start fighting to stop the stacking.
Well, the other thing to think about is that Ever did fight well in that first game towards the end, and they made it genuinely difficult for JinAir to close it out. So we'll see. I mean, JinAir, you know, of course, gaining a bigger lead earlier, but the problems still remain, and you know, maybe with that Rek'Sai instead of the Kha'Zix, Ever might have a chance to get some late game teamfight wins and come back.
Definitely a strong possibility. I wouldn't even pencil in any sort of a victory for JinAir. This is very much still competitive because they have a lot of power in the late game when it comes to 5v5, and because their comp makes more sense and can contest for more objectives when it comes to vision. Because remember, even if they don't have the vision down, even if they haven't had the map pressure, stuff like the Rek'Sai passive, the Tremor Sense, will give them the option to scope out the fights that they were completely denied because of the Kha'Zix pick in game 1.
Yeah, that's right. Well, JinAir trying to be a little bit more assertive in the enemy jungle. Nice little steal from Winged onto that Raptor.
This is kind of the best case scenario for Ever. Ashe is finding farm in bot lane. The Ryze is finding farm in top. If you're trading farm with this lead, Ever is very, very happy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's going to be all on JinAir engineering a scenario where they actually take an objective, a key objective, with Baron not on the map, with Dragon down. That key objective is mid lane turret. This is a scenario where you know Ever would engineer a very smart way to outnumber in mid lane and take that turret. And JinAir, that's the one thing, is they haven't been as impressive at doing that as,
Oh, Bless has to flash over the wall to get out of there. Close call for the jungler on Ever.
They get another flash, they get the turret in mid low. This is where they really need to claim it though, JinAir, because Bless is definitely going to be on the back foot with no flash up.
Yeah. Nice poke from Temp there. Wing does have to back off.
Because the thing is that even if all they get is Ashe rotating to mid, it's not free farm and Ashe and bot lane. It's still drawing people to share CS when previously they've just been getting free CS and bottom top. So that's already a mini win for JinAir, and they've got the turret low enough that the first time they make a decisive rotation, they will get mid lane turret down. So
yeah,
they're doing the smart thing. It's just not quite reaping the reward just yet.
Sure. Well, I'm just wondering, you know, will we see JinAir pull back and start to play ultra safe, ultra defensively, you know?
That'll be a problem. That will be one of the few windows that right now haven't been opened for ESC ever. That'll be one of the few windows that they could definitely creep through and actually get to that strong team fighting phase, use the picks that they have, and actually look for the sort of fights that even with an inappropriate comp and giving away Barons, they were honestly competitive in the late game in game 1.
True.
Rod of Ages finally completed, but 16.5 minutes in for Ryze, so those timers we talked about, the Seraph's Embrace is going to be significantly delayed, the Rod of Ages already significantly delayed.
Yeah.
Just really going to be a snare bot, not much more than that at this point.
Trace getting some good damage onto that top lane turret too.
It's just first item completions across the board for ESC ever, whereas much more going on in the infantry so far for JinAir.
Yeah. Trace just seems like he's going to be really tough to dislodge from this top lane, you know? Dragon up in 10. About.
In between the 3 items, we know he will complete the Spirit Visage, the Sunfire Cape, and the Iceborne Gauntlet. If he feels powerful enough to just rush the Iceborne Gauntlet Sunfire and run at Ashe and fights, trivialize Loken, then
yeah,
it's pretty much operation complete. Success for the side of JinAir.
Well, JinAir going for that Mountain Drake, and there really doesn't seem to be anything that ESC ever can do to stop them.
This is definitely the part where if I'm in Twitch chat, I'm asking live or rerun, because it's basically about as about as similar to game 1 as can be when it comes to objectives just piling up for JinAir and Ever not even looking to contest them.
I want to see them close it out quicker though. Tempered Fate does not connect for Che, just hits the turret, which doesn't really do them any favors.
Wing's gonna pop over.
Yep, brave move. Really wanted that Krug.
Doesn't get it. JinAir still haven't found a way to put down that mid lane turret. That's, you know, that's where you can start being like, okay, they should have found a way by now.
Yeah.
They haven't even gotten any extra damage compared to when they chunked it about 5 minutes ago.
I mean, this is the issue with JinAir, right? They seem to have this large edge. 4K gold about 18 minutes is pretty nice. And they just don't seem to be able to be decisive to, you know, push that as far as we see a lot of other teams do.
They're definitely not as good as Ever are at doing it, that's for sure. I think it's because it's one of those things where it feels like they have an extra error checker. If they were a PC program, they'd have more fail-safes than Ever. Ever take big risks. That's why they get punished. That's why someone like Key is not playing tonight, ostensibly because he got caught out a lot in that series against CJ, even though they went on to win very comfortably. Whereas JinAir, they error check, they fact check, they make sure that everything is clean, all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, and sometimes they miss out on objectives that a team like Ever would take.
Yeah, that's right.
Tutorial victory.
The JinAir stall begins,
yeah.
You know?
The creep towards a tutorial victory sometimes can, be punishing. So we'll see if they'll be put to the sword, because the items will slowly start to creep, and they're still not there. Crazy's still very, very far behind, but they will be there eventually. That's the inevitability. Even if you take down inhibitors, minions will push in. If you don't finish the game, you will get closer and closer to 6 items on all carries. So maybe that'll all be a moot point, but for now, you start to get a little bit worried. You're kind of squirming in your seat if you're a JinAir fan.
Yeah. Oh, Winged and Bless find each other in the enemy jungle. Jay is there. Bless gets slowed down. Magical Journey brings prey over the wall, but they're not going to be able to follow through with any sort of gank.
Just the recipe for the Seraph's Embrace. I imagine, given that he got the tier at a good timer, the Seraph's Embrace will be completed for Crazy when he gets the recipe. So starting to creep back in.
Yep, that's right. Jay just slamming temp with the Cosmic Binding, but nothing to bind to, so.
So what I want to see, so the question will obviously be, how could they have gotten this turret? Because they did rotate around mid, they made some good plays, they blew some flashes, it's just, they never had slow pushes, they never had the minions doing that extra work for them in multiple lanes to make it that lose-lose situation forever, and Ever were able to do that in Game 2. So that's kind of the final piece of the puzzle. Not that they're bad at manipulating waves, it's just they don't have the foresight to be, this is our objective, this is how we do it, and this is where we need to be in 2 minutes' time when everything comes together and that ribbon on the end of it is mid lane turret.
Right.
So no gift wrapping for JinAir is what I'm saying.
No.
They buy a nice present, it's just the gift wrapping. No.
They're like the type of person that likes receiving socks or something, you know? They're like,
I could really use a tie.
It's like, I can arrange this with all of my other socks. It will look perfect. And keep my feet warm sometimes.
Workmanlike.
Yep.
We'll finally get it, although...
they do. Che gets knocked up. Gets hit. Takes a lot of damage, but they do get the mid lane turret in the end. He's going to back off. Bless takes a big hit from the Chaos Storm. But that may be it for JinAir. No, they're not going to pursue it any farther. So they'll be happy with that turret.
Minion wave, slow pushing in bot lane, so they just back away. There was no more realistic objectives to take in that scenario, so smart of them to back away. Crazy's overextended a little bit here.
Yep, Trace is going to try to take advantage of that. A little bit of damage, but it is top laner versus top laner, so you know he's safe.
Yeah, just was able to walk out of the parallel convergence, so no stun coming through. 5 sack Rod of Ages, so again, 26:30 is the timer for Rise. They finally lose the mid lane turret that was really JinAir's earlier goal, so later than expected, and if there is no more advantages JinAir, if they can't force out either Baron Vision or get some inner turrets, really start to threaten the base of Ever, like another dragon would be lovely, but that's the only thing Ever's losing out on. Again, late game fighting phase in pretty even terms, given how poorly the early game win is really happy times for Ever.
Yeah. Pretty much. No Kazakhs to mess things up this time either.
Nope. No bugs.
Yep. You mean special features?
No bugs.
Literally is a bug.
Yeah, it's true.
Winged. Ooh. Oh, he had a ward there the whole time. In fact, they were standing right on it. Teleport bringing somebody in too. JinAir are going to go and chase. They get an early kill onto Loken. That was a bizarre chain of events.
Yeah, Bless was playing around the Tremor Sense, so was Loken. Then he missed the arrow and realized he was going to get completely outfoxed.
I guess so.
Wing just turned around, killed him, level 13 and plenty of items, so that was definitely not the smartest play from Ever, and they should lose a lot from that.
Yeah, I think they probably will. Dragging up in about 25 seconds. You haven't seen what element it is just yet. Tier 2 turret under threat from JinAir. Whoa, and meanwhile, Wing manages to find the kill on attempt. Okay, well, that happened.
Oh, Blanc just ulted, the Rylai slowed him down,
yeah.
and we know what Wing can do in terms of damage on this Kindred. It's a really nice aggressive play from JinAir, finally showing shades of their game last week.
Looks like things are kind of starting to come apart for this Ever team as another Mountain Drake spawns. JinAir can get that. That's going to help them close up this game pretty fast.
They're already all over it.
Oh, yeah. And that's going to make Baron go so much quicker, too. So that's also a pretty big deal from this.
Winged at this point's having a day out. 3-0-1, just basically soloed out the mid laner and the AD carry pretty happily in skirmishes and trades in the last few minutes, taking out another dragon. 4 spawns. We're actually going to see 6 dragons spawn this game.
Yeah.
Just the 5, actually.
Well,
5 or 6. I'm not actually completely clear on that interaction, but yeah, the Rylai slows enough, and Wing flashes past, is very quick with his build, both with the swiftness, with the Berserker Greaves, but also the Zeal, and chases down another kill. So nicely done by JinAir.
We do see it as a Mountain Drake. I mean, this Karma pick, I mean, on paper you can see how this would work well, but it just doesn't seem like Tempt is just doing a great job with it.
I mean,
so you
Tempt
wonder if
was
they
on
over-prioritized the takeaway, you know?
I mean, Tempt was on the back foot from minute 1 when he walked into lane and died. So Karma's again one of those champions that plays best from ahead. Was very well punished.
Right.
Crazy's trades look pretty good.
Crazy. Wow.
That went pretty sick.
Yeah.
So that's actually an issue for Trace. You know, he obviously went for Iceborne Gauntlet for chase pressure, but we'll finish the Spirit Visage at some point to be a lot more capable in those trades.
Yeah, I think Trace is just happy he got out of that without having to use his flash.
Yeah, there's the Spirit Visage. That's actually a big completion. He only had the Spectre's Cowl before.
Okay. Waiting at Baron. And is JinAir going to go for this and try to force a fight?
It's the sort of objective that will be free in game 1, but Rek'Sai obviously has that extra information, and Ever in a slightly better position to fight.
Yep.
2 items on their carries. Ryze is in bot lane, just kind of walking around, so he's not going to be able to get the home guards. He's kind of walking into lane. He wants to pick up CS, obviously, given that he's Ryze, but he's trying to balance both charging up spells so they can show up with his passive proc, but also pick up any minions where possible.
Yeah. Send Trace down to the bot lane to push up some of these minions. Doesn't have that teleport yet, but it's pretty close.
That's actually really big. So Bless actually smited away the Rift Herald as it was low, so now they have the permanent vision over Baron. Actually could be pretty massive when it comes to Ryze being able to enter lane and get CS, because this would obviously be much more risky if they couldn't get guaranteed vision around the Baron.
Right. Oh, speaking of that, though,
stuff.
JinAir, yeah, taking a sneaky Baron from the back of the pit. Bless is going to find them, though, and they're going to turn onto him, popping that Sivir ult, though, just to get away. Yeah. Yep, just to run away, the JinAir way.
But guess what happens when you have a tank jungler? They can actually face check things and work that stuff out.
I suppose so.
So crisis averted for Ever. They do not give up a free Baron. More stacking time. Still quite a long way behind in gold, over 7,000.
Pretty massive lead at this point in the game.
And you know, you outlined that the next dragon is a Mountain Drake. Remember, that's 3 Mountain Drakes in a row. So
true.
Those come down, and specifically the Elemental Drake comes out. Baron, even without a team that's massively good at Baron, because this is actually a good Baron team with Echo, and specifically this Kindred. That Kindred Bloodraiser, and in general, the build is going to be doing so much damage. If you're doing 45% bonus true damage to both the dragons and the turrets. Like, turrets and neutrals are going to explode if they do confirm both this next Mountain Drake and the Elemental Drake.
Yeah, and you got to think that JinAir's probably just going to wait for that, you know? Get it first and then make their big push.
I think if you're going to bet on waiting in a JinAir game, you're probably going to be doing just fine.
Yeah. If you love waiting, you will not be disappointed. Oh, Trace back over the wall for some damage onto Crazy, trying to do work. Does a little bit, but again, he's only a top laner.
Let's see. More wave clear wars. Credit to Loken, where even with all these turrets down, has been able to find farm. Is 40 CS behind Sivir, but given the fact that he's Ashe, you know, a champion that can definitely be caught and chased down by things like a Bard ultimate or even just Winged showing up behind him, being competitive in CS in a game like this is actually super hard to pull off.
Yeah.
As the Ashe, especially when he can't just go sit in mid, because Karma is a champion that needs blue, and honestly, given how much he's been ganked, has to kind of be in the shortest lane possible.
Right. Everett's trying to hold on to whatever part of their own jungle they can hold on to at this point.
Very intriguing to see if Crazy goes for Abyssal Scepter or Guardian Angel, because Guardian Angel will be, I want to frontline and fight as much as possible, and Abyssal would be more of a trading item. Does have a Karma, so obviously you get a lot of value out of the Abyssal Scepter aura.
I suppose.
Winged is definitely the true terror, 2 levels above his opponent, plenty of damage items.
Oh, arrow goes wide, but it hits. Ends up hitting Blanc in the end anyway, but no follow-up from that.
Well, Loken's not having an off day on these Ashe arrows. I'm going to put that out there.
Yeah, not looking good. Uh-oh, Totoro has to flash away. He's in a bit of trouble here.
Oh, boy.
Nice tempered
This
fade.
bad times.
Here's the follow-up teleport, bringing Trace in there. A kill already for Blanc. ESC Ever on the run. There goes the tier 2, and Trace just all over Loken. Goodbye, Ashe. And now, JinAir primed in position to either go for the that last Mountain Drake, or they can go right for Baron. It looks like Baron's going to be the call for the moment.
This is definitely a scenario where both is a very realistic objective. They're going to start with the Baron, the more difficult one to engineer, with those 2 Mountain Drakes dying pretty damn fast.
Wow, imagine if it was 3. It will be soon, probably. That Baron just getting insta-give, basically. Trace still pushing Bless back.
Let's call out Che. What a wonderful ultimate there, clipping both the Ashe and also the other member, taking them out very easily. That was a massive team fight changing ult to cement what has been a really nice, clean game. To remember, still no kills on the board for Ever.
Yeah. Only 2 turrets, otherwise they'd be looking at a shutout. Pretty dominant game so far for JinAir. 10,000 gold ahead, and now they will get that 3rd Mountain Drake stack.
Oh boy.
That is pretty terrifying.
And now, if any ranged auto attacker gets any free time with these turrets, they're going to go down. It's not going to be an extended siege against Ever. They're going to basically wait out the mantra Q from Karma and then just all in on a turret. It will explode almost instantly.
Well, I mean, if you think, too, about what the Elder Dragon is going to do for this Mountain Drake buff, too, I mean, you don't even need Baron with that. Whoa, Loken takes some hits. Totoro chases Trace off, but yeah, I mean, if they can get the Elder Dragon along with those 3 Mountain Dragons, they can really just kind of steamroll their way through the base at that point.
Yeah, attack speed 80 carries with the Mountain Drake stacking are just insane, so
yeah.
They have 2 of those already, so they're in prime position to exploit one of those edge cases we kind of embrace that have come out of these elemental dragons.
Yep. Winged and Crazy.
Don't do that.
1v1. Wow, when your jungler can 1v1 the Rise, that's not a good sign. Winged. Whoa, Ashe Arrow barely misses again. This has just not been Loken's day with these Ashe
Look, there's
Arrows.
a turret. Oh wait, the turret's gone.
Yeah, that was gone very, very quickly. Look at the damage onto this inhibitor. Holy cow. And we just saw Winged 1v1ing the Rise as well.
And just casually sidestep an arrow. He buffered his ultimate too early, so he cast that. Probably feels bad about that one.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Oh well.
There's a turret.
Tempered Fate, they catch Loken, and they catch Totoro as well. Turn a bit low, that's a big damage Chaos Storm from Blanc. 1 kill already, Loken gone, and this game may not end up being too long, as JinAir looks like they're ready to end it right here, right now. Mid inhibitor gone, bottom inhibitor gone. They're gonna close it out with the 3rd one, and with no AD carry, what's to stop them?
3 Mountain Drakes too.
That's what'll do it, and man, talk about some structure damage. Holy cow. JinAir puts the period on the end of that sentence. GG.
Well, JinAir going to be looking for the favorable rolls on the Mountain Dragons in the future, because when they get some Mountain Drakes, they look really clean in closing out a game. It wasn't a perfect game, but it was oh so close.